Hey guys, bringing you a new show here on YouTube. If you follow competitive bass fishing, you know this week kicks off the very first Bassmaster Elite Series event on the St. Johns River. And Bassmaster just announced not too long ago that they've brought back their Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing event where, you know, like the normal user can go pick who they think is going to win that tournament. Well, you know, the only bad thing about that is there's not a whole lot of information that you can dig up unless you do overall research on every individual angler. So what me and Bradley Hallman and Todd Castledine are going to do is we're going to break down for you in each bucket. And when I say bucket is these are grouped out A, B, C, D, and E. And there's a list of anglers in each. And what we're going to do is we're going to break down who we think is one of the top anglers for that lake in that period of time, and to help you pick your fantasy roster. So stay tuned. You're going to see something pretty cool. You're going to see some guys that have been in it for a long time break it down and show you exactly who they think is going to win this tournament and going to be the best angler for that group. So let me get these guys on the phone real quick. I'm going to go ahead and call Hallman, and we're going to link in on Todd Castledine. So let's see. All right, we got Bradley on the phone right here. Let's go ahead and try to link in on Castledine. Let's see. Let's call Castledine in and merge him in.
Hello?
All right, we got Todd. Let's merge this call. All right, guys, are y'all there?
Am I the only one here?
No, Brad was there too.
All right.
I hope. It's our first time doing it, guys, so just, you know, stick with us here. We're going to try to walk you through this Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing roster and who we think is going to be the most effective angler on the St. Johns River this week with everything going on. So, Todd. Yeah, go ahead, Todd. What do you got?
Well, don't start with me. I don't even know was I even supposed to set this up?
What? Go ahead, Hallman. We gotta let Todd collect his thoughts.
First of all, we've all signed up. We've all made our picks, and
No, we haven't.
you haven't made your pick.
I haven't signed up. I didn't know. I'm doing it right now.
Castleine's behind. I'll go first, and you can go, and then I'll give Todd some idea when to catch up. Let's start with Group A, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
We've got 5 groups to choose from, and then they kind of categorize them, and they change throughout events, each tournament, depending on who's the favorite. There's some really good sleepers on down in Group C, Group D, and even Group E. And there's some new guys on the Bassmaster Elite Series that are rookies this year that I noticed that are down the list that by the end of the year they will not be in those groups any longer. Obviously, the monster in the field, without a doubt, is John Cox. I think we all realize that. And they've got John in Florida now. So John started off the year with a win in Texas already with $100,000, and now I'm going to take him back to his home state where he is King Kong. There's also some really big names on here, too, to play well with him. Chris Johnston and Corey Johnston, the brothers, obviously, not because they're phenomenal fishermen, but also because of the style of fishing. Those guys up north, they all grow up fishing natural lakes, and Florida is the same thing. So anytime you bring those guys down here, they feel very much at home. Any other names in the top that you really liked?
Well, you know, I think that brings up a really interesting point. I mean, if you look, because you got to look at kind of everything here. You look at last year's results. You had Rick Clunn, Chris Johnston, you just mentioned him, finished second place in the event there. Patrick Walters was 4th. Corey Johnson was 8th. So obviously the Johnston brothers are going to be a huge pick in that first bracket. And actually they're not, I mean, if you think of it from the fantasy football aspect of things, they're not very well owned. You know, 2.3 and 7.7 respectively. But John Cox is at 31%. I mean, everybody's pretty much expecting John Cox to just come in there and dominate, obviously.
Yeah, and I'll be really shocked if he doesn't make the final day. I had to go read to see what they were going to do after they canceled today. They're definitely fishing on Monday. Another big overlying deal with this tournament is, did you guys look at the weather?
I got it pulled up right here. Yeah, I think it definitely makes a difference.
It's warm down there, and it's been warm. So, bed fishing deal at St. John's, sight fishing is always a big player. But the weather is not conducive. And that throws a little kink in it for especially a John Cox, who we know is going to look at him. There's some other Florida guys, too. Drew Benton, another Florida guy in this group. And I think I saw a couple more in here, too, that I was like, yeah, Cliff Prince. And Cliff is actually a local there on St. John's. So those guys are going to be trying to bed fish. There's a lot of canals to get in on that place, but a lot of it's usually done out in those eelgrass beds of Lake George, and that place is wide open. So this thing may not be won by a sight fisherman.
I don't think it sets up. I don't think it sets up for sight fishing whatsoever.
A lot of wind, a lot of clouds.
Yeah.
First couple of days, and in a cold front after today, I believe. So it's going to throw a hiccup in it. We talked a lot of these guys. My pick was John Cox, and it won't change. They're in Florida. I feel like if he's one of the strongest anglers in the field, no matter where they go, especially in that state, especially in the spawn, he's going to be hard to beat.
What you got, Todd?
I don't even know if I'm doing this right, but I know who I want to pick. But I thought you said you were going to walk me through how to do all this. You lied to me. So
you enter your name and address.
I already did all that. I already got all that. Hey, you got to let these people know what we're doing. So I'm already there. I'm actual at the deal where you it shows me Group A, available anglers, stuff like that.
Yeah, and you hit the plus sign.
Yeah, go to that list, and the one that you pick is when you pick a plus sign. You only get to pick one of those anglers.
Okay, I didn't. My phone wasn't showing me the plus sign. I got it now. All right. Well, there's a no-brainer right there.
Who do you got? Who do you got, Todd?
Well, dude, I'm a sight fisherman. I'm gonna pick the only best sight fisherman in the field. It's a no-brainer.
All right, so I'm gonna give y'all a different perspective because you got two guys that definitely are heavy John Cox here. I'm going to go with Chris Johnston, and the reason so is because, I don't think the sight fishing is going to be as conducive, even though John Cox is an absolute phenomenal angler and coming off a win at Rayburn. Chris Johnston caught him there. I watched a part of the live last time, and he caught him flipping a jig on reeds. And,
oh, yeah, I saw that.
And he blasted them. And the last day, they just didn't bite very good for him.
Well, don't we have multiple picks in Group A?
No, you only get one pick.
Oh, well, that's not fair at all because that was my – okay. Well, see, these are things you're supposed to let me know about this. Well, this is really – I'll put it to you this way, guys. Let's see. 4 of my guys, so I just wrote down some names that I wanted to pick before we start doing this. 4 of my guys are in, because it was Drew Benton and Chris and Corey Johnston were some of the top of the list. And Zaldane and Stetson.
Welcome to the real world, Todd. That's how we all feel, that you don't get that option.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I had 14 guys that I had put down as when I play fantasy, right? I picked down these are no-brainers for me. 7 of the 14 I picked down are in Group A.
That's why they're in Group A.
I don't like that at all.
I don't like that.
As you get further down this list, it becomes harder to find your pick. That's kind of the name of this game.
Yeah. I'm seeing. I like this. Okay, well, I still pick John Cox because I'm just not going to go against the sight fisherman. I'll ride and die with him.
All right, so one thing, you pick what I want you to do is I want you to pick who you think is the best, and I want you to pick a dark horse of who could be a solid pick, even though they're a sleeper on this list.
Drew Benton?
Yeah, he's at 6.1. He's not heavily owned. I don't think that's a bad one. What about you, Hallman?
I like Stetson Blaylock. I like his work style. I like his work ethic. I think his mind is right 24/7, and that boy's coming. Like, he is young, and he's got a lot more to put on his resume, and a win in Florida wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I'm going to give you a pick that's a 0.3%. I'm going to go a Shane LaHue.
That's my if I don't know, because when I look back at the percentages, I was like, man, 6% is not exactly a dark horse. But if I was going to pick a real dark horse, it would be Shane LaHue for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Shane's a young kid, he's not a kid. He's a young guy, but, I mean, he definitely catches them pretty much everywhere he goes. So, not a bad pick. I think that's a good pick.
No, I like that one.
All right, let's move on to Group B. Go ahead, Hallman. Start us off here.
All right, I'm going to click over to Group B and start us off. Group B is also very much like Group A. It has a lot of the anglers that you would list normally. As I went through this list, I saw a lot of guys that I would really like to pick, and I got to the very bottom of the list.
Golly!
And there's Seth Patrick Walton. Now, let me go over this. Not only did he do well in this event last year, this also, when we started the Open, the kid, he came out strong, right? I mean, he led day one when we were in Florida, right?
Yeah.
It's very obvious to Todd now what he's doing. Like, we knew instantly. He weighed that bag in. He's looking at him, and he did. He obviously looked at him down here last time. So this guy definitely knows how to use his glasses. I'm taking Patrick Walters.
Who you got, Todd?
Well, I mean, what do you think I was going to pick? And I'm telling you for the exact same reasons. Like, listen, we were down at Toho, right? We know that there was about 0.01% of fish on beds. I didn't want to take that gamble. Hallman didn't want to take that gamble. Like, none of us wanted to take that gamble because it was, and he took it, I guess, and found some. So if he's going to find that 0.1%, I'm all over that. Man, you know what? Hold on. That I don't want to just pick. I think he's going to do good, though. I got to pick him.
All right.
Sorry, Hallman. I got to pick him, too, because, like.
No, that's no big deal.
All right, so I'm going to go a different direction again. My pick is Jeff Gustafson. And for two reasons, I think, and I'm picking Canadians evidently today, but the deal is he knows how to win tournaments. He likes fishing heavy-duty gear, so flipping, pitching. He's a very versatile angler. Obviously he's won a lot of money. Florida is really similar to how they fish in Canada. So I think he's a pretty solid pick. He's very low owned as far as this goes. But I like him there. I think he's a solid pick.
And let's just be honest, all right? Those three guys, the Johnson brothers and Gussie, all went and hung out with the McMillans for a long time, and like they got a lot of knowledge down there with them Florida boys. So these aren't just some random, or Canada guys down there. Like they get a lot. They spend a lot of time down there in Florida with the McMillans, learning some stuff. Like so.
They're game dayers. They show up on game day and they catch them pretty much every time. All right, who's your dark horse, Hallman?
Dark horse for Group B?
Yep.
Man.
Let me go. I already got it.
Go ahead. Go.
I'm not, because he's like, if we were talking about this earlier, if people don't know, you better just put down Ray Hanselman as a guy you better just learn about. I'm not ever going to count him out for anything. So, Ray Hanselman.
All right.
Since we were kind of going off the lower percentages on the last one, I get it, dark horses. I'm all in on my boy from Oklahoma, Luke Palmer. I fished against Luke a lot here in local stuff through the years. Him and his dad were always strong. Really proud to see what all he's done. I think he's got a lot of things going, a lot of momentum. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Luke start off the year with a really good tournament in Florida.
All right, I'm going to go to a direction here that I think is solid because I know he's a big fish guy, and I know one of his favorite things to do is throw a speed worm, and that's Carl Jocumsen. He's 1.1. He actually has a really good resume in Florida. He's had a lot of really good finishes there. It would not surprise me with how that river sets up that he goes out there and throws a speed worm around and catches him one or two big ones. Definitely a Carl Jochimson at 1.1. What about a Group C? Hallman, start us off. Who's your pick?
My pick in Group C is going to be Brandon Cobb. He is obviously the heaviest favorite in there, and I'm just now looking at the percentages after I picked him. So I don't know that was that outstanding of a pick, but I know how strong of a fisherman Cobb is. We had him on Bass Talk Live last week, and in his interview, he talked about his consistency was not what it has been throughout his life or career fishing last year on the Elite Series. Now, that's coming from a guy that won 2 blue trophies last year. So there's a guy telling you he won 2 blue trophies and he's wanting more. So there's a reason that he's a 37.3% in Group C.
What you got, Todd?
Clark.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Clark's just too, man, these guys can struggle because they go down there and they've been down there a whole bunch of times. But if there is some sight fish on beds, he will sight fish, and he's just been down there a bunch. And he's not really by any means a dark horse at 8.2, but he's just always going to, like, surprise. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain guys on here that win tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what up. So, I mean, that's who I got.
I'm going to go the direction of a local with Kobe Krieger. I don't know Kobe that well. I know he catches them in Florida. Obviously, he's from there. He's a really good fisherman. I remember fishing against him at Harris Chain, him catching them there. In this field, or who we have in this group, I really like Clark Wendlandt too. Hunter Shyrock spends a lot of time down there too. I like the pick with Cobb, but Krieger has my vote in that section. I think it's not a bad thing to pick a local from time to time. Let's go dark horse and see. What you got, Hallman?
I'm going to go right off the top of the list at 1%. His name's Todd from South Carolina.
Chatterbait King.
A long time.
Yeah.
Todd's been fishing a long time, and Todd's won some tournaments through the years, and he's an extremely strong shallow water fisherman, which is what that place is. So it's in his wheelhouse, and he's only 1%. I take him as a dark horse.
All right. What about you, Todd?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a dark horse that, like, I'm stuck in between. Neither one of them are, like, down, you know, like, but Kelly J and Paul Mueller, like, both those guys kind of, like, I know both those guys can fish, you know. I don't know, man. I pick whoever's lower on the list. Hold on. Man, I'll pick Paul Mueller, man. I just think that guy's a fisherman, man. He's, like, come up kind of like it, man. He's showed up just kind of out of the blue. Not out of the blue, but, like, from the lower ranks. I'm a lower rank guy, right? The guy that kind of just fished, like, just didn't, you know, fished a lot for a while on the lower ranks and just made his way up there. I think those guys, like those guys like that. So that's my pick.
I'm going to go Brock Mosley. Brock's a really good fisherman out of Mississippi. I know he really likes throwing a swim jig a lot, and I think that event could set up to where they catch him on a swim jig pretty well, especially with the low light conditions and having to throw moving baits, maybe even a top water or something like that. I do like Mosley for that. All right, Hallman, let's go ahead and let you go ahead and tell us all about Brian Schmidt in Group D, because I have a feeling that's exactly who you're picking.
You knew when it was coming, didn't you?
I did.
Look, guys, they got him down in Group D. I don't get it. So let me inform some people in this world that obviously don't know who Brian Schmidt is. He's the all-time most winner of coastal levels ever. He's got tour level wins. He's got it all. Not only was he my roommate for the last 3 years, this guy is an absolute monster anywhere in the United States that has grass. And what does the St. John's have? Lots of grass. Another thing about him, he is not a sight fisherman. He will make them eat out of the grass, even if they're spawning without looking at them. And we just talked about how this tournament is not conducive for a sight fisherman. Don't be surprised if you see Schmitty, first event on the Elite Series, stand on stage with a trophy over his head. Bottom line.
He's a winner. There's no doubt about that. What about you, Todd? Who you got?
I mean, he is my first pick because it's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing, and this isn't some obvious pick, but I just don't want to. That would be 3 of the 4 that I picked with Hallman, which is crazy. Because I've been looking for his name on here, and none of the you did say something about a swim jig, which makes me. So I mean, I'm gonna probably pick the best. Can I say that? Can I say might be one of the best swim jig fishermen in?
Oh, hands down, he is. He's definitely one of the best. Yeah.
You know who I'm about to pick?
Who you got?
I mean, I'm not saying he's better than Brian, but man, I think I'm gonna pick Steve Kennedy.
Yeah. No, he is.
Good pick. That's legit.
I mean, we're talking shallow water right up in there. Like, just go out there and fish. And if the weather's kind of crazy and some things kind of do some different things, the way he fishes, he's just all out. Who cares? Who knows if he even practiced for this event? You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow might be his first day on the water.
I mean, that's how he is. There's no doubt about that. I like Hallman's pick, and I think Schmidt is definitely the top of the list in this list of guys in Group D. But I really think Bernie Schultz, growing up in Florida, I think he brings something to the table. I think he'll be able to adjust to these changing conditions that they have down there. I think he is the guy that will mix in some sight fishing, mix in some throwing like a devil's horse. Really change it up and catch them. But I like Hallman said, Schmidt is so hard not to pick because he can pick up a chatterbait or a swim jig and just go to work on them and never put it down. He will absolutely have him a win this year. If it's not here, it's definitely going to be somewhere down the road. Hallman, who do you have in Group D as your dark horse?
I've been looking at that. It's hard to pick one. You guys have picked everybody out there. I'm waiting for Jay Ellis and the monster to arrive, and maybe this is his week. Last year it was Rick Klein. Maybe this year it's Jay Ellis. The guy's one of the most decorated anglers, if not the most decorated angler, probably in this entire field. Him or Clark Wendlandt, and I may be leaving some people out, but he's definitely got a lot. I'm going to go with Jay, dark horse.
What about you, Todd? Who you got, dark horse?
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, there's a lot of guys on here that, they fished 1 year. This is going on their second year. So, I mean, there's still a lot of guys out there that I'm still trying to, get up for sure. But, I mean, there's some guys, let's be honest, I'm not from Virginia, so, I mean, some of these guys, I'm really interested to see how they do this year on tour. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really interested to see how they do because, I want to learn some about these guys. We'll know in a couple months. Some of these guys are going to make some name for themselves. But I'm just going to pick a hometown guy, Brad Watley.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. That's actually who I was going to pick on my dark horse. Many of you might not know, but he fishes Lake of the Pines a lot. It has some giant bass in it. He's very well versed with fishing grass. And he had a good year last year.
Grass, pads, it's got all those reeds up, like that north end of Lake of the Pines is like, if it ain't like Florida, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's a jungle area, and he definitely knows how to fish it and catch them. And I mean, he's worked his butt off to get where he's at, and I think he's a very good, solid dark horse pick. And he's not even a bad just pick to win that division, but it's hard not to pick Schmitty on that deal because he's just so good.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and wrap it up in Group E. Hallman, who's your top pick?
Well, honestly, when you get to Group E, Group D and Group E are usually the hardest to pick out of. But the fortunate that we have right now is there's a lot of new faces over here at Bassmaster on the Elite Series, and some of the rankings or however they do these has kind of left us with some really good buys. So I'm not going to take the most obvious on the chart. I'm going to go with a guy that's probably a little less known. We fished against him for a long time over on the other FLW tour. His name's Austin Felix from Minnesota. very strong angler, very consistent angler, and he seems to thrive anywhere on a natural impoundment. Minnesota, natural lakes, same thing we got in Florida.
And who is that?
Austin Felix.
Austin Felix, okay. I like that. What about you, Castledine? Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, Buddy Gross is the obvious one. But, man, that's a lot of offshore stuff. And I don't know how much – I don't know the St. John's that well, but, when I watched it last year, there wasn't a lot of offshore stuff going on, I don't think. I like the Austin Felix deal. So this is a weird one. And if you'll ever get my picks, guys, I'm honest about this stuff. So, Destin DeMarion, he's a rookie. No one's ever heard of him, probably, in the sense of this year, because he's never fished the elites, right? So people have heard of him, but he's a rookie this year. I'll just be honest, man. He's on my social media stuff. I don't know. I think he's like them guys from up north. They hate being up north in the wintertime. I just see him down there in Florida all the time fishing. So I don't know. I don't know the whole deal of why he's always down there in Florida fishing. Not anywhere else, just Florida. So he might surprise some people. I'm just gonna pick him just because he's down there in Florida a lot. He's one of the northern guys. You know what I'm saying? That's just down there in Florida.
Yeah.
Not wanting to be up in the snow. And I get it.
I get that. I like that pick. That's a way out there pick, but you follow him so you know what's going on. Hallman, I like your Austin Felix pick. That's actually who I was going to pick. But I have kind of a curveball here because the weather's changed. I've kind of taken note to the weather. Austin Felix is obviously an extremely versatile fisherman. He's super laid back, doesn't let things get to him. But another young guy that came over from FLW that qualified last year through the Bassmaster Opens would be Wes Logan.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, Wes Logan grew up in Alabama. Heavy power fisherman. Has had some really good finishes there in Florida. Is only 4.3% owned. I think he's a young guy, can straight up catch him everywhere he goes. I think he's going to be really hard to beat in this group. Him and Felix are by far my two favorites.
I like the Wes Logan pick too. I know that he spent a lot of time with Canterbury, and he's got his ducks in a row, and the kid's going to catch him this year.
So, who's your dark horse in this one, Hallman?
Well, you kind of took it with your Wes Logan pick. I don't know. How about that Quentin Copper?
No, that's my pick.
I'm going to take you since I get a pick first. We'll swap. I won't get a pick first when we do this again, so that way you guys all get your turns. But I'm going to take Capo.
All right, who you got?
Well, I'm going to explain why Quentin's a pretty good dark horse pick. So I just did a writers conference with him down there at Gross Savant. So I kind of know, it's a whole 4 foot. There's not, no one's catching anything in 4 foot or deeper, right? I mean, it's just a crazy pads, grass, reeds, and I know he was catching them down there doing some different things. So that's why I was going to pick him. Now you got me. Definitely not that. Hey man, is it gonna be hot down there in a lot of island?
I doubt it.
It's sweaty down there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's.
Well, hell, I'll help you out. I'm actually gonna go a Japanese angler.
I got it.
All right, go ahead.
Brett
Pruitt's a good one. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go, I don't know if I can say his name, but Taku Ito from Japan. If you follow the Bassmaster Opens at all, the guys from Japan, absolutely destroy them. But the reason why is because they put in so much time, and I can promise you, Ito put on his time in Florida and got good down there and knows where those fish are. I think he's a pretty solid dark horse pick, and I don't even know who he is, but I just know the guys from Japan, they really work hard. They're very meticulous to detail, and they're really good fishermen. And there's no doubt about it.
Did he fish the Opens?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yeah, he qualified through the Opens.
No, did he fish the Open this year? Did he fish Toho?
Let's
I don't know
see.
the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that. I'm pulling it up right now. I don't think he did. It doesn't look like he did.
Okay.
But
One guy, and I can't think of his name right on top of his hand. He spends a lot of time up at Grand with Toby Hartzell, and he actually led Grand the Bassmaster Open last fall, and he led it for 2 days. And he was definitely at Toho, but I'm not real sure what his name is. I know it's terrible, but
well, there was 4 Central Opens last year, and he's only fished 5 tournaments. Okay, he fished 1 in 2018. He fished 4 in 2019. But his 4 tournaments was 2nd place at Toledo Bend, 8th place at Smith Lake, 66th at La Crosse, but 10th at Grove. So he had 3 top 10s in 4 tournaments.
Who did?
This Ito guy.
That's strong.
That's
strong.
That's strong.
I mean, so for only 5 tournaments, that's pretty darn good.
He had to have finished 2nd in the points.
Oh yeah, had to have. I mean, because that was way too good of finishes.
Right, Wes finished 1st, right? So I guarantee he finished 2nd.
Yeah, I bet he was up there for sure. Hey guys, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you watching the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Go follow Bradley and Todd if you get a chance on YouTube and social media. We're going to be putting out a lot of content. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, if you're not signed up for Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing, you're missing out. They're giving away a lot of really great prizes this year. And now you have an inside view of who you think's going to win because we're going to help you out along the way. So make sure you subscribe. Appreciate it again. Thanks for watching.